Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
We are just about halfway through our 7-week backpacking trip around Thailand.
And last night we arrived in Phuket Old Town after a very long ferry journey. So as we said, we arrived into Phuket Old Town late last night and we are staying at the most beautiful little eco hostel just on the edge of the Old Town.
It's not on a bed and breakfast basis, but we were really delighted to find that there was a kettle in the room, but there's no cooks. And if you know as well, we can't function in a morning without our coffee and without our breakfast. So we are going to have a wander into town, get some coffee, have some breakfast, and then we'll catch you up with how we got here a little bit later on.
Well, I think that was probably one of the longest breakfast runs we've ever had.
Yeah, we found an amazing coffee shop that roasted its own coffee, and it was just really bougie, I think that's the phrase. But yeah, we had a nice breakfast there and then just really got sucked into Old Town Phuket.
Wow, what an amazing place. We really didn't know what to expect from Phuket. Quite a few people had told us to perhaps even skip it on our travels. But Phuket Old Town, it is just beautiful. All the buildings are based on an old colonial style. They've got big balconies upstairs. They're all brightly coloured. And actually, the shops are quite nice and boutiquey. So we had a really good explore around.
And one of the other things that was just amazing is that it's got a growing reputation for contemporary street art. And Jackie, when she gets the camera out and she's got street art in her sights, there's no stopping her really.
So we did have to explore a lot of the little side streets, but there is just some fantastic artwork just dotted around. You never know when you turn a corner what you're going to find.
But the day just got hotter and hotter and hotter, and for 50-something backpackers, we had to come back for a nana nap because we were just too hot, too tired, and frankly just too sweaty to do anything.
So it has actually been quite a few days since we last spoke to camera. We left the beautiful tiny little island of Koh Kradan and got a ferry up to Koh Lanta, which is quite a bit further north, and we've just had a really quiet couple of days of downtime and beach time. We didn't do much recording, we've just taken a few photos, and we just had a lovely quiet time.
And Koh Lanta, it's an enormous island, but it's just got so many little beach resorts, and we just really enjoyed our time on the beach, by the pool. There was some unreal sunsets, amazing.
Yeah, we stayed on Long Beach, which, as the name suggests, is a really long beach. It's 4 kilometres, and it has the most beautiful, vivid coloured sunsets over the west, over the ocean. And it's got lots of really lovely bars that we just sat and sampled a few of their cocktails and watched the sunset. What more could you ask for?
So tonight we're going to head back down into Old Town Phuket, have a wander around, see what it's like on an evening, and just have a bite to eat, and then we're on the road again tomorrow morning. So see how we get on tonight. So hopefully you can see from the footage that we had the most wonderful evening in Old Town Phuket.
When we got there, it was just coming up to sunset, and the golden light over all the old buildings was just simply stunning. I've taken so many more photos.
And our evening didn't quite go to plan in terms of Jackie and Richard plans, because we were just tempted by happy hour beers, and that was really nice, just watching the world go by.
And then I wasn't actually that hungry. We'd had a really big lunch when we were in Phuket Old Town earlier, so we decided just to go for puddings for our main meal. And we'd spied queues outside a shop, and of course when there's queues outside a cafe you have to investigate why. And it was called the Burnt Buttered Toast Cafe, and it was quite famous for this huge doorsteps of what are pretty much like a caramelised toast.
It is like the perfect blend. It's got the stodge of bread and butter pudding, and it's combined with a sort of caramelised tart tatin feeling with the best ice cream on top. It was just heaven on a plate.
And I even went one step further because I had the honeycomb to go with it, so it was just delicious. And then to finish off the evening, we were wandering back towards the hostel, and we went past a cafe that had some live music, and it was really cool and chilled, so we sat and had another happy hour beer for about another hour and just watched the world go by. There was just such a lovely atmosphere. We've really enjoyed Phuket Old Town, and at night with all the lights it was beautiful.
So in terms of looking after our health on our travels, it was a bit of a blowout day yesterday. A few beers, pudding for tea, but it was just exactly what we needed. And every so often you just need to have a day like that where you can switch off, enjoy the environment and enjoy the moment of being in such a beautiful place.
So we've had 2 nights staying in the Eco Hostel just on the edge of Phuket Old Town. It's been a really great base to explore. It was really cheap. I think we've paid about £62 for the 2 nights, or the equivalent of £62, and we've definitely got a bargain, I think.
It's a beautiful little hostel, so it's got a couple of hostel rooms and then it's got 2 or 3 maybe private rooms. We're actually in a triple, and all around the hostel it's got a lovely nod to eco design, and pretty much everything within the hostel is upcycled.
Including the beds, I think, because they've got the platforms that they've just made from bits of old wood that they've painted and then just mattresses on them. But actually it's really comfortable and it's really quirky. It's got everything you would expect in a hotel room. It's got a fridge, it's got a TV, it's got a kettle, but interestingly no cups, so we weren't able to make ourselves a coffee. It's got a little sofa area, and it's got a balcony so that we can sit and watch the world go by outside.
We are going to do a separate review of this little hostel because we think it is amazing, and its location to the Old Town, it's probably about a 10-minute walk down just one strip and you're actually in the heart of Old Town. So we think it's been a really bargain stay and we've loved it, so consequently keep an eye out for the review video that we're going to do of it.
Yeah, and something that always makes me happy is it's got really nice toilets and shower rooms as well.
There is another thing that makes Jackie really happy, and me happy to be fair. It's got a hotel cat, and he's big, he's fat, he's lazy. They all refer to him as the fat cat, so we're not being offensive or anything like that, but he's such a cutie.
He's really friendly, and he's there to greet you at the door when you come in at night.
So today we are taking probably our life in our hands. We're going to wander down to downtown and try and pick up a local bus that does routes around the island, and we are heading off to
Carter Beach or Cata Beach. Yeah, the bus is 40 baht apparently to get out there each. We have had a bit of a recce to find where it goes from, so fingers crossed we get there in one piece.
So as you can see, we have had quite a 48 hours in Carter, or is it Cata Beach? I don't know.
No, I'm not sure. But yeah, we headed on the bus out of Phuket Old Town and we headed out towards the beaches of Phuket. We chose Cata Beach because it is supposed to be one of the quieter beaches along this coastline. It has the most beautiful sunsets, which we'd seen from photos. But wow, is it busy.
It's just really different to everything we've experienced so far. Remember, in the early stages of our backpacking adventure, we headed right down south to sort of some really small islands, and I think we got a false impression perhaps of what some of the beach resorts are like.
So we've had a couple of really nice days on the beach. There are really long sandy beaches. We're on Cata Beach, and then there's Caron Beach, which is also within walking distance of our hotel. They are really, really busy, but you can hire sunbeds and umbrellas to keep you in the shade, and it was only 200 baht between us, which is about £2.50 a day, which is great. We enjoyed people watching. We've enjoyed watching the sunset. I'm not sure whether it was just the sunset we were watching or the kind of show going on around it of all the different people with their Instagram poses, which was actually quite different to watch.
It was beautiful, and beautiful in a different way.
Yeah.
And we've really enjoyed our 48 hours here. The nightlife in this area is completely different to anything we've experienced before. And to be fair, we've still been in bed by 9 o'clock, but we went out last night for a street market experience, and it was really well done.
The street food was absolutely beautiful. Richard ended up having some fried chicken and some tempura prawns from the street market, and I did a typical Jackie thing at night because we eat such big lunches, and I just had a great big waffle cone, a freshly made waffle full of fruit and ice creams. It was delicious.
By the nature of it being a little bit more touristy, it felt a little bit more sanitised, and it was a little bit more sort of polished than your traditional street food market. And we, to be honest, really enjoyed that. You have to cope with the madness of being in Phuket because obviously there's people wandering around with monkeys that they want you to cuddle and all sorts of reptiles. But yeah, that's just Phuket.
I've actually really enjoyed the fact that it is very different in the evenings. We haven't had that chance to go around some of the street markets and the walking street markets at night. So that has been a plus to Cata Beach. But I have to say, we do prefer the quieter resorts, so we are going to move on from here. We left our options open. We could have stayed for another few days, but we have spied a place further up the coast that we're going to move to next that is supposed to be a little bit quieter. We'll see how we get on there.
While we've been here on Carter Beach, we stayed at an illustriously named place called Fantasy Hill Bungalows. And it's really nice. We found it on booking.com. It's just about £30 per night. And for that, you wouldn't really expect very much. The outside of the bungalows look a bit tired, but they've been completely renovated. And inside the rooms, they are just beautiful. And what more can you expect for £30 a night?
I don't think I'd expect any more from a place if we'd spent £100 a night. It's actually really lovely in here. It's had the bathroom completely redecorated and redone. The shower actually was one of the best ones we've come across. It has a filter on it as well, which I've not seen before, for the water.
And it's ideally located for us. It's a 2-minute walk into the hustle, bustle and craziness of the beachside front. Yet it's up a quiet little road. We hear nothing throughout the night, and it feels like a little oasis of calm in terms of the craziness of a big beach resort.
Because it's such a small bungalow complex, it doesn't do breakfast, so we've had to go and fend for ourselves, which actually we found does add to the cost of your holiday if you don't get a bed and breakfast. So from now on, I think we will try and search out hotels that have the breakfast with them.
And I think we've been teasing you enough, because Jackie gave a little indication as to the quality of the shower in this resort. So let's cut now to Rate My Shower. Welcome to the Fantasy Hill Bungalows at Carter Beach, Phuket. As you can see, a newly refurbished shower room to a high modern standard. A wash basin with a plug, handy for backpackers who need to wash their clothes. A really high standard of tiling, this unique design offers extra shelf space. The feature we loved was these fly screens on the windows to allow bug-free ventilation. We love a shower rail. A sunken wet room floor format. As Jackie mentioned earlier, a water filter on the shower head. Nice to see a minimalist plumbing design with a non-discoloured water heater. Good drainage from the wet room design. So, overall strengths: space, cleanliness and overall design of the bathroom, with a loss of marks for lack of hooks and complementary products. So a very impressive 46 out of 50 for the Fantasy Hill Bungalows in Carter Beach, Phuket.
So that's it. Our time on Phuket has come to an end. We've really enjoyed the experience. We loved downtown Phuket with all its really beautiful buildings and its quirky little coffee shops and eating places. And we have really enjoyed Carter Beach as a beach resort.
You'll probably realise if you've been watching this channel a while, we like the quieter places. So to be fair, the big beach resorts on Phuket haven't really floated our boat, but it has been an absolute experience. One of the things that we didn't really like about the large resorts is that they are a little bit party central, and with that comes a culture of weed, which is legally sold here by a variety of outlets, and that pervasive smell all the time, it doesn't really float our boat. And we also just got a little bit of an insight into the drinking culture of the beachside resorts, and that is just crazy. There is alcohol on sale everywhere, and we like a drink, but what we're not necessarily into is like buckets of cocktails and, you know, drinks all hours of the day.
So interestingly, we are heading north now. We're going to a town called Koh Lak, which actually we only know about because my mum, just before we left England, gave us an article that she'd found in the Times travel supplement about different places to stay in Thailand. And it did say that Koh Lak was one of the quieter resorts. I think it's still got quite a lot going on there. And it's got beautiful beaches. It should be a bit more away from the hustle and bustle of Phuket. And it's actually closer to where we want to be after that, which is the Khao Sok National Park. So we're going to give it a go. And actually, as part of that, we've gone for budget accommodation for most of our travels so far. We've gone for the much cheaper end of what we could find on booking.com. But we did say before we left England that we would choose one resort or one place that we might treat ourselves to see what it's like life on the other side. So we have got our eye on a really beautiful complex that's, I think it's a Marriott-owned hotel that just looks stunning. So we're tempted that might be the place that we treat ourselves to just 1 or 2 nights of pure luxury.
On the flip side, obviously, the Yorkshireman in me is treating Jackie to a luxury transfer. So we are going to get the 40 baht person public bus back into Phuket Old Town. We're going to have a little bit of a trek across town, and then we are getting a bus on a 2-hour journey. £12.50 for us both to get up to that luxury resort. So never let it be said that I don't know how to treat Jackie.
Well, we did have to reap the costs of going for the luxury resort somewhere.
Of course.
So that's it from our Phuket section of our Thai travels.
So we will see you later. Who knows where? See you later. Bye.
Bye.